All right, we'll just do a quick introduction then. Sorry about that. I think we're ready to go. Our next presentation is Watson Srivatsan will be here with us talking about Amazon Translate. We'll turn on the time over to Watson. He's Senior Product Manager of Amazon Translate, correct? Take it away.
Thank you, Derek. So hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the presentation on Amazon Translate. I am the Senior Product Manager here at Amazon Translate. Been with Amazon Translate for 3 years and see it grow from a service that had a handful of languages supported to now supporting 75 different languages and variants. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about why Amazon Translate. There are so many translations out there. What are the things that we focus on to deliver or to differentiate ourselves from other services, and do some demo on the capabilities that we have, and certainly ask more questions. So the one thing is I was expecting to do a demo, like not really do a presentation, go to a console and get examples from you, and was planning to do a live demo of the translations, but looks like I just have the presentation. So I think we are stuck with the presentation here. So Amazon Translate, our goal is to create a customer-obsessed translation. So what does a customer-obsessed translation mean? Who are our customers? Our customers are enterprises. Our enterprises who are AWS customers who want machine translation. And that drives our machine translation strategy. I'm happy to share our strategy that makes us who we are. Our translation service is built around enterprise customers. And with enterprise customers, let's go with the, you can. Oh, lovely. I just heard that I might be able to do a demo, so thank you. So the enterprises are our customers, and when you do translation, the first thing we look for is not the price, but it's quality. And quality is very important. And what we do to improve quality is ensure that we source data from the right people and ensure that we clean those data before you use them in machine translation models. And quality over quantity. One might ask, why stop at 75 different languages when you can go to 100 or 200? And the answer is, we want to do few languages, and those languages we want to do it right. And how do we differentiate ourselves would be the ease of use. If you are an AWS customer, your ability to use Amazon Translate should be easier than using any other MT service provider. And fourth one is to give you more control over how you want the machine translation happening. Control comes from ability to customize. So this is where we talk about the domain adapted machine translation, and we call it the active custom translation. And then finally, provide a product that is enterprise ready. And when I say enterprise ready, it is security, privacy, and compliance. So how are we taking our translate message to you, the customer? You can search for Amazon Translate on YouTube for Amazon Translate deep dive videos series, where you can see how to use Amazon Translate. It's a 12-part video series, and it can grow by the time you might see this presentation. But so search for Amazon Translate deep dive video series, and you should see a playlist. The second one is, if you are an Amazon if you're an AWS customer, you have access to our solutions architects and the ML Solutions Lab to enable the integration of Amazon Translate to your system. Third one is, if you need people to develop the integration, we provide with Amazon ProServe to ensure that you don't need to hire developers. We do the AWS does with ProServe help, does the development work for you. And then if you need help in integration, we also have an extensive partner network who would help integrate Amazon Translate in your solution. So this might be a slide that you may want to take a picture of, because this pretty much is the slide that talks a lot about Amazon Translate. Today, as we speak, we support 75 different languages. Our real-time translation has a latency of under 80 milliseconds. So if you talk to Alexa, and if Alexa does not know an answer to your question, Alexa would translate your question, if it is not in English, to a language that has more data in it, search for your answers, and then retranslates it back to your language, and then gives you the answer. So it does 2 translations, and your user perceived latency is next to nothing. That's how Alexa uses Amazon Translate. We are in 17 AWS regions, and we also were the first to make it generally available, the document translation, where we support docx, PPTX, XLSX, XML, and so on. And finally, we want to talk about the customizability of the translation. There are 5 ways to do customization, and that is something that I will go in detail in the next slides. This is where we talk about how you can use Amazon Translate both in real-time mode, where you send in a string and you get a translated string back, or you have an archive of materials that you want to translate, and you can just put it all in S3 bucket, simple storage service, Amazon S3 service. And then the whole set of files gets translated with simple one API call. So this talks about how batch translation happens. I wonder whether I can do a quick demo on console of how the batch translation works. All right, okay. Ooh, I have to, this is going to be interesting.
I'll switch it to duplicate so you can actually see. Bridget, did you have that? Here we go. There you go.
Please close your eyes. So this is how easily you get into an AWS console. And then you just search for Amazon Translate. And there we have. So I was, in one of my slides, I was talking about real time and batch. So maybe if you have some sentence that you would like to translate from English, I would say, because it's easy for me to type to another language, I can show a quick demo translation, which might be simple, but I can do a circuitous translation from 1 to 2 of the 3rd language and back to English and see how well the translation has gone. So any sentence? Any sentence? Oh, okay. Okay. I like the fox is cute. So what language would you prefer any language? Korean. Let's go with Korean, and let's translate that from Korean to back to Arabic. Okay, let's do that. Nope, I'm not saving that. And we have that. And then let's translate that Arabic to English. Oh boy. And the fox is cute. So the other thing that I want to talk about is the batch translation. So if you look over here, you can actually create a batch job. You can, if you have all your materials in your S3 bucket, you give a name for this job, let's say name. Then the original information is in English, then you choose English. And if you want to translate it to Arabic, then it's Arabic. And then you determine which S3 bucket where your data is stored. So you define that S3 bucket where your data is stored. Let's just call this here, this one. And then the file format, if you have your, we support multiple file formats. So if you support a Word doc, then we can certainly choose Word doc here. And then you select an output location where the file needs to be translated. And let's call it that. And there are multiple ways you can customize this data. So, actually customize the encryption. Let's start with the encryption. So as we talked about enterprise translation, our goal is to make sure that you're able to take privacy, security, and compliance properly. And in many enterprises, they are forced to store their data with the encryption key that they define. In such cases, by the way, first, with Amazon Translate, all data is encrypted both at rest and in motion. Whereas if you want to have your own key to lock and secure your data, you can actually specify that key so that only people who have access to that key can use this information. And then you can choose formality. So formality is something that we launched very recently, I think early this year, where we are supporting about 6 languages where you can choose whether the output is formal or informal. And you can choose whether you're, if you don't make any choice, then you're letting the AI decide whether it's formal or informal based on the way it sees the input script. Whereas here you can force the translation to be either formal or informal. And profanity. As we talked about Amazon Translate, our translation service is an enterprise service, which means think of our translator as an interpreter. Most interpreters do not translate profanity the same way. Like if you were to say, sorry for the F word, if you say something is effed up, mostly the interpreter would translate it as this is broken or this is rubbish. Or this is S word, then this is rubbish. You really don't translate that profanity in the same way. That's exactly how Amazon Translate does. By default, we try to remove profanity in our translated output because our target audience are enterprises. However, with certain user-generated content, it is impossible to prevent formality in the output. In such cases, you can turn the profanity filter on, and those places where the profane word comes out, that gets masked by a Grolix. And then finally, I can talk about custom terminology. Custom terminologies are where you have named entities be translated correctly. My name is Srivatsan, and as you can see, this is not a very English or Christian name. And it is written in a script that is other than Latin. And if you have to write it from another script to a Latin script, there are multiple ways to write it. And this is where a custom terminology will help in translating named entities correctly from one language to another. Then finally, the pièce de résistance, the parallel data. Parallel data is where you have parallel sentences, translation memory, as you may, a high quality translation memory that you want to bring in to set the context for your translation. And you want to use that context to drive and influence the machine translated output. This is when you would use parallel data to get domain adapter translation. This is a model-free customization. There is no model here. You only pay for the number of characters that you translate with Amazon Translate. So the advantage is you can continuously keep upgrading your parallel data and still get the best machine translated output. What I mean, why I call it the best, because it's best because it uses the latest data that you have and also uses the latest model from Amazon Translate. And you can create a job and you can get this whole thing done in an asynchronous batch fashion. Now I'll go back to presentation mode. So from this slide, I think I walked you through the whole process of how to get into console, how to use Amazon Translate. It's not just you use Amazon Translate from the console, you can also use Amazon Translate from API, from CLIs and through software SDKs. How many minutes do we have there? You're done. Okay, I'm done with my presentation too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Watson. We don't really have any time for questions, unfortunately, but we'll capture them in the chat and we'll figure something out in order to address those down the road.
Moses, could you just close the browser?
Yes. There you go.
Oh.
Thank you. So we'll wrap up this session. We'll exit this Zoom session for this demo and we'll log on to the next one. Give me 1 second.
This presentation anymore?